Hello guys. So this is going to be an incredibly simple and short video, and basically I'm just going to be explaining how to install the Bettrfg mod by Array on Linux. And now it is not natively supported on Linux. This is just a way that I figured out how to do it. Maybe a native version will be made in the future, but this is how I figured out how to do it for now. So I'm going to show you guys how to do it real quick. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to go to whatever distro you're on. You're going to want to go to the software store and search for bottles. And once it loads up, you're going to want to click on this one, bottles, run Windows software, and you're going to want to download this. Alright, now once that's downloaded, you can open bottles. You open bottles. Oh, alright. And then you're going to want to make a bottle. You're going to want to create a bottle right here, and you're going to want to click application. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it apps or whatever you want to call it, and then let the app make the bottle. You just let it make the bottle. We'll come back to that in a minute. And the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to download the Bettrfg installer from the Discord or the GitHub page. And then when you initially try to run Bettrfg in the bottle, it's not going to work. And the next thing you're going to need to do is go to your web browser and download the .NET 8.0 runtime for Windows. Make sure to download the .NET 8.0 runtime for Windows. And once it's downloaded, you're going to run that installer in the bottle to install the .NET runtime into the bottle. And then once that installs, you can try to open your Bettrfg installer. Like here, for example, I have the .NET runtime. When you download it, you're going to right-click the .NET runtime and click Open with Bottles, and it'll run and then it'll give you a menu, and you just choose what bottle you want to use, preferably the one that you just made. And then once that finishes installing, you go to the Bettrfg installer and you click Open with Bottles, and you're going to click your bottle. And as you can see, it opens. And now as you can see, it says, like right here, couldn't find the Fall Guys folder, pick the folder manually. But if you open the browse, it looks a little weird, because this is technically an emulated Windows thing. And if you go here and try to go to your Fall Guys folder, it won't work. So what you're going to need to do is when you go on here, and then you click on the slash, and then you're going to want to click on home, then your user, and then you'll be on this folder. But as you can see, nothing's here. So what we need to do is in Steam or whatever platform you're using, I assume it would work with third-party launchers, you're going to want to click on this, click on Manage, and then Browse Local Files, and it'll bring up this menu right here. And then it's in the Fall Guys folder. So what you're going to need to do is click on right here where it says Common, and then you'll see your Fall Guys folder right here. And what you're going to want to do is open another folder, and as you can see, these folders line up with what's right here. So what you're going to need to do is just drag Fall Guys over into here and make sure to click Move, not Copy. Move here, and then once it moves, you're going to want to click slash again just to reset it. Slash, alright, you'll just close this, and then you click Browse, then the slash, and then you'll go to Home, your user, and you'll see the Fall Guys folder shows up. Then you'll click on the Fall Guys folder and click Open. And then you'll see it checks it, and then if you have it installed already, you can update. If you don't have it installed, it'll say install. Then you click on update or install, and then it should finish installing. Alright, that's the big installation part, but there's still one more thing we need to do. So the first thing you need to do is, as you can see right here, we still have the we need to bring the Fall Guys back into the home.local share steam apps common. You need to drag your Fall Guys folder back where you dragged it from and move it back. So that way Fall Guys is back in your folder. And then once you're done, you can close out of that. And now the last thing we need to do is we need to install the Bettrfg Unity mod loader, because without it the mod will not work. So what you're going to do is manage, browse local files, and what you're going to need to do, this may sound very, very odd, you are going to need to make sure to download the Windows version of Bettrfg, even though there technically is a native Linux version of Bettrfg. Because we are running this game through Proton, you need to download the Windows version of it, and then what you're going to do once you download it, you drag it into the Fall Guys folder, and then you extract the file, and then that extracted folder needs to be in your Fall Guys folder in Steam. If you click on Browse Local Files and go back into the Fall Guys folder, and once you extract it, you should see at least one of these folders. I'm pretty sure one of these gets created after you launch the game for the first time, but you need to extract it into here, and once it's extracted, you can delete the original zipped folder, and then once these folders are in here, you're good to go on that. And then the last step for it to work is if you have to go to Steam, click on Fall Guys, you click on Properties, and then click, and under General, you need to type this command, which forces the game to load Bettrfg's Windows DLL folders. And then once you put this command under Launch Options, by the way, as far as I know, any GE version of Proton doesn't allow this to work. The version that I've been using is Proton Experimental. Other versions might work, but Experimental is the only one I found to work so far. And then once everything is complete, you can launch the game, and we're going to test to make sure that it works. And just to reiterate, I have not fully tested every single part of the mod, but all of the basic parts, or like all of the functionality, seems to work. There might be some bugs that I'm unaware of because I don't know how the Windows version is, but the stuff like the in-game timer for counting personal records and stuff for levels, you can customize your lobby background, you can customize your character model with like accessories and stuff like that. So as far as I know, everything works fine. And as you can see, this should pop up when the game launches, and then the window pops up, and then it's gonna load. All right, we just gotta give it a second. See, there we go. There we go. And you'll know it works like once the game loads. All right, the game loaded, and you'll know it works if you see this tab right here, which allows you to see your personal bests. And also, if it isn't there by default, you can push Shift and Z to bring up the main menu, and you can press Z again to bring this up, and then you should be good to go. You're all off to the races and able to use Bettrfg. By the way, the game audio is incredibly there. Okay, the game audio was incredibly loud. But yeah, that's how you install Bettrfg on Linux. Thank you so much for watching.